season. Don't get any better than that, and they get the tip against the New Zealand Breakers. Of course, the defending champions trying to make it 2 straight. Toby, medium range jump shot from Luke Neville goes down, and Perth Wildcats are on the board. Wilkinson spins, backdoor cut to Jackson. He lays it up and in. We're tied up at 2. The intensity here is amazing. Ball's loose. Mika Bacona picks up the steal. He'll slow it down and get it to Cedric Jackson. New Zealand will run their half-court set. Bacona looking to take Neville off the dribble. Man traveled with the shuffle of the feet, but it goes to Neville. Damian Martin to Redditch. Out to Damian Martin. He puts it on the floor. Again, Luke Neville, medium range. That's good.
Goodness. You couldn't ask a better start. Could you 2 jumpers from his 7-footer? You talked about one of the keys of getting into the big man, Drew, and he stepped out and hit 2 shots just inside the 3-point line.
Not sure that would have been scripted the first 2 plays to have Luke Neville shooting 15-foot jumpers, but it's been successful so far. He plays very well with his front on to the basket. He's probably better front on than his back-to-back, but showing his range early on.
1 second left on the shot clock, and Gary Wilkinson bangs down a 3.
And he's more than capable of that, shooting it at 40%. He's top 10 on the season from 3-point line. Got to get out and respect the big redhead.
Well, finally, somebody misses a shot. Sean Redditch misses, but 2 New Zealand Breakers can't secure the rebound. Breakers with a 1-point lead after that bomb by Gary Wilkinson. Neville in the hot hand for Perth. Damian Martin throws it upstairs, and Luke Neville for the jam.
My, oh my, 6 straight points to Luke Neville.
I think you called it.
We wanted them to go to the big man right now. Luke Longley, who spoke to the Wildcats pre-game, and you can wouldn't be surprised if said that he was suggesting they go inside to the big man, and he's delivering early on.
Wilkinson to the boos of the crowd. Follow-away jump shot. Looks like Gary Wilkinson's in the flow.
Well, obviously, game 1, it was the guards who stepped up to Kevin Wishes, the CJs. The big men said, we want our time in the sun.
Guards yet to shoot. That one's a little long by Lish. Looked like he had a little adrenaline on that one.
Why wouldn't you? Tony, we've seen some unbelievable basketball environments right throughout the world. Collegiate, NBA, right here. 4,500 people. It's just creating something very special.
It's a fantastic environment to play in, Drew, here.
There's trouble.
Sea of red. Straight back up, mate. He's tough as they come, that man.
Wow, that looked shocking the way he came down on his knee. I think he's trying to shake it off. Trying to be brave.
Yeah, that he felt very awkwardly.
Yeah.
But wasn't he crashing the offensive glass? Lish gets a good look. That's an offensive foul on Luke Neville, just trying to get a little extra piece.
Have a look at Damian Martin. He comes down just the hyper-extension of the left knee. Substitutions early on. And CJ Bruton coming in for Daryl Coletto very early on. Only played a few ticks over 3 minutes. And I think this is a strategy that Andre Lamanis, with the intensity of this game, I think he wants to get his players in and out, get them as much rest as he can. But Daryl Coletto played 39 minutes in game 1, so he sees an early rest.
Extra pass goes to Thomas Abercrombie. Comes up a little bit short on that good look from the 3-point line. Damian Martin looks like he's hobbling on that leg. Sean Redditch comes up short. Cam Tovey's grabbed by C.J. Bruton.
And they've got to get Damian out. He's hobbling. On defense, you saw Cedric Jackson just do a reverse dribble on him, but here we see it again.
Just a little foul by CJ. I tell you what else, Tony, is Thomas Abercrombie. He's missed 2 weeks of basketball.
Yeah.
Now, I know you think, well, 2 weeks is not a long time, but he hasn't been able to do anything because of that.
At all.
So to come back in here and actually start is full credit to him. But we saw he's a little short on that jump shot. to start. It's going to take him a little while to get his feet back under and get back into the flow.
It's amazing though, Drew, how sometimes some players really relish that rest as well. Kirk Penny was someone that hardly used to train post-season. He just used to come out and score 30, drop 30 on you as well.
Crowd go wild as Cedric Jackson shoots an air ball from the three-point line. Jackson with the steal, the pass to Wilkinson. He gets the lay-in for the Breakers in transition. Boy, Cedric Jackson can get you some gimmies, can he?
He certainly can. He's lead the league in in assists and steals. Only 3 players in the history of the comp have ever done that, and he's done it in his rookie year. No one's ever done that, but always good when you throw up an air ball to almost within 10 seconds, get a steal and come back and get an easy 2. It puts that bad thought out of your head real quick.
And in this building too, on the road. You don't want to be shooting too many air balls. Get an easy one.
And he seems to be the type of player that this crowd doesn't ride a whole lot either. He doesn't say a whole lot. He just kind of backs it up with his actions. And this is a good crowd. They seem to respect that type of player.
Yeah, they do. They're very knowledgeable when it comes to the game. Of course, they weren't that knowledgeable back in 1993. The championship trophy, mate. They were a little hostile, weren't they? But
it was a different building.
Yeah.
Understandably so. But I tell you what, they need to take care of the ball, though, the Perth Wildcats. Already, they've got 3 turnovers in the game so far. And as you saw, one of them already leading to an uncontested shot. But that's easily the way the New Zealand Breakers broke that press. Too easy. That'll make them start to second-guess themselves whether they can actually extend the defense. So that's a real good result right there for the New Zealand Breakers.
Yeah, and I think another good result for the Breakers is Leon Henry. He really struggled stepping into that starting role for Thomas Abercrombie the other night in game 1. So a good nerve settler for him.
On the mismatch, Wagstaff just too big for Daryl Corletto, backs him down. I like it when Jesse Wagstaff gets a good look inside the paint early before he starts spraying up those threes.
And it's good the way they identify the mismatch there. He had the Daryl Corletto on him down low, and good size advantage, and Corletto just reaching in, trying to slap it away, and works his way for Jesse Wagstaff to get to the basket. But this is just a sensational start for the Breakers. When you talk about trying to take some heat out of the fans, come away with this blistering shooting display at 67%. 6 of 9 from the field so far.
CJ Bruton bringing it up against the token pressure of the Perth Wildcats. Really hasn't been a factor so far in the game. Corletto looking for that floater. It's thrown in by Wagstaff. And you haven't noticed the referees much because we got a very good crew calling this game. Michael Aylen is the NBL Ref of the Year. Vaughn Maybury and Ray Hunt. Timeout on the floor. New Zealand Breakers up 13-9 over the Perth Wildcats, trying to go back-to-back.
Buy Heineken. Fly to Poland. Be awesome. Buy Heineken for the chance to win a VIP experience at the Heineken Opener Festival in Poland.
Get your Barter card now.
Barter card. Deals money can't buy.
When the Perth Wildcats see red, they see blood, and they see a lot of red in this building. The sea of red at Challenge Stadium. There is nothing more intimidating than that coming as an opposing team, especially how loud they get.
Well, even with that, the New Zealand Breakers could not have asked for a better start to this game too. All this potentially decider. They've come out and shot the ball well, 6 of 10. They've been able to cause a few turnovers, and of their points, 8 of them have come inside the paint. So they've been able to penetrate the defense of the Wildcats. And we spoke about the New Zealand Breakers. One of the keys to them is taking care of the ball. But the Perth Wildcats on the other side, if they continue to burp it up like they have so far, it could be a long night for them.
Yeah, could be watching the celebrations of New Zealand going back-to-back.
And with the success of the Breakers offense, the Wildcats now take a look at their zone, 2-3 zone defense, and there's a shot clock violation. There's a slip up.
Just a little bit not aware of what's going on. They need to. You can't afford to have turnovers like that. And they'll be a bit angry with themselves about that one.
We got Lockie Reed working the sidelines for us. What did you got?
Oh, well, boys, Damien Martin, of course, fell awkwardly as Jesse waxed up, makes the points. Fell awkwardly in those first few minutes of the game. He's just getting his ankle strapped up at the moment. He should be right to come back on straight away.
Yeah, he's a big factor because he was in foul trouble in game one, and then the guards went crazy for New Zealand. So hopefully for the Perth Wildcats and this series, we see a healthy Damien Martin come back in.
Well, he's so important to that team. And not only did they lose him in game one, but Brad Robbins as well. So an admirable replacement if Damien Martin goes down. Of course, the Wildcats played without Damien Martin for a number of games in December with a toe injury. So it's not something that they're not used to.
Darryl Coletto just second-guessing himself there. There's a good defensive possession there by, who was it?
At Dylan Boucher.
Dylan Boucher.
He's taken a few charges.
He's renowned for that. He's one of few men in the competition that this year had more rebounds than points, which is a little unusual.
CJ gets it to Corletto. This time they handle the pressure of the Perth Wildcats. Dylan Boucher trying to feed it to Pledger. Another turnover by the Breakers. Lish with the reverse layups, no good. Ball's loose on the glass. It'll stay with the Perth Wildcats.
Yeah, Kevin's got a little bit too basket savvy there. He should have just kicked it back out and had Greg Hire on the three with his feet set. Tried to go up and under.
Kevin Lish just trying to get himself going. He's got 2 points, both of those coming from the free throw line.
Wagstaff feeds it into Matt Knight. His jump hook is good. That never looked like this.
That's something the Wildcats really want to do, is try and establish that inside presence. Like you said in the intro, these two guys should dominate the Breakers big men. But it's something that's been inconsistent in their game all year.
Henry came close to stepping out of bounds. That'll be a charge going the other way. Just trying to do a little bit too much too early.
Andre Lamanis is up out of his seat. He wanted to check the defense out. No, he had the foot on the line.
Yep.
Both feet have to be inside the circle. If you're on the line, you're considered out. So
really,
both
I
feet
thought it was the other way.
In the NBA, it is, I think. But in FIBA, you've got to be inside.
Mate, I'll take your word for it. I didn't think you would know.
No,
I never knew the rules when I played, mate, so there's no reason I know them now.
Lish looking for some space. Keeps his dribble alive and finds Robbins. There's Matt Knight, turns the other way, this time over the right shoulder and hits the little short jumper.
Great touchdown side. They've certainly made us look like geniuses, the Perth Wildcats. Matty Knight, Luke Neville doing their thing down low, and they look strong and efficient. Pledger down the middle, strong, good ball movement again.
Bad pass by Robbins. That last score for New Zealand broke an 8-point streak for the Wildcats. CJ. Oh, man.
There is nothing you do about that. That's great defense, other than like basically in his shorts.
Well, Brad Robbins has just got, CJ doesn't have a size advantage over too many people, but that time there, he just knew he was able to get that shot off. Look at the little fella, the little nuggety Brad Robbins around the basket.
It's amazing how many games we've covered this year. He's really taken to rebounding as he gets a hand on Mika Vakona and just forces the ball out. He's been exceptional down low. You will see him post up tonight against a bigger opponent. He just feels confident.
With both Robbins and Martin, I think they're two of the best off the rebounding guards in the competition, particularly Damien Martin. He is always there being an annoyance amongst the big fellas. Both these coaches throwing their teams around. A lot of substitutions, a sloppy turnover this time by CJ. Just took his eye off the ball.
Very similar to what Darryl Corletto did. But that time it wasn't even against pressure, where CJ just taking his eye off it. So a couple of turnovers here by the Breakers, and that is how the Wildcats got themselves back into it. Wagstaff backing down Mika Vakona. Good footwork and he's fouled. He'll go to the line for two. Just the game is swung by the way of the Perth Wildcats after that last break in the action.
Steve, 2.5 minutes ago, the Perth Wildcats had 3 turnovers and the New Zealand Breakers had none. 2.5 minutes later, the New Zealand Breakers have got 5. So it's a very quick turnaround. Got to give a lot of credit to the Wildcats, the way they've been able to crank up the defense, but just a couple of sloppy plays by the Breakers.
The Breakers have been those sloppy plays like you talked about. Wildcats probably a little bit more on their half-court set. There was one turnover there by Brad Robbins that was trying to force it, but could be a little bit of nerves. These guys are going to be nervous, and as the game settles down, we're going to see some great basketball.
Damian Martin back in, got that ankle taped up. Perth still in that 2-3 zone. Mika Bacona puts it on the floor. Gets it out to CJ for his range three. That's off the mark. Pleasure with the offensive rebound and the putback.
That's one of the drawbacks of the 2-3 zone. Unless you go and find your block-out responsibilities, take a look at this. There we see the big fella, Pledger, getting around the undersized Tovey, and Tovey's forced to commit that foul. They've been good in this 2-3 zone, has been effective in curtailing some of the offense of the New Zealand Breakers, but just that time getting beat on the boards.
There wasn't a whole lot that Tovey could do on that one. Ball went up in the air, and he was already behind Pledger.
Plus it's 6-6 going up against 7-1.
Yeah. Redditch. Breakers with a 1-point lead. Redditch puts it on the floor. It's knocked out of bounds off the leg of Sean Redditch. Gotta like that matchup too, with him and Mika Bacona going at it. Drew Williamson into the game for the Wildcats.
A couple of big guns. I'd like to see the Wildcats get their big guns a little bit more involved. Sean Redditch, you saw him there pushing the issue. He's 0 of 2. He needs to see a few more opportunities, and him along with Kevin Mish, a little slow start to the game offensively.
Abercrombie, he runs out of space. CJ Bruton eventually gets it to Jackson. He pulls up for three. That's off the mark. Pledger on the offensive glass again. Ball's knocked loose. Perth don't like it. But Alex Pledger has been a monster on the offensive rebounds.
2-3 has really forced the Breakers into some tough shots. But again, it's on the boards.
Yeah, you got to go and get someone, and you often find that the same man will run, or two men will run to the same guy and just leaves one wide open. But Alex Pledger's development over the last couple of years come a long way. No one really knew much about him until a Boomers versus Tall Black series about 3 or 4 years ago, where he played a great game in Sydney and has developed a lot over the last few years.
And full credit to Andre Lamanis for what he's done. And I think it's more than a coincidence that Andre's had him the last couple of years and he's really developed his game. And give a lot of credit to the coaching staff for the way they've been able to mould him.
Yeah. And obviously I spent some time in New Zealand. Their mantra is about trying to develop those New Zealand players as well, and they're doing a good job of it.
Just sense a little bit of anxiety in Sean Redditch. We saw the last one, and that one, a little bit of a forced play. He got the benefit of Alex Pledger just not getting the right position. He's going to go to the line and knock down a couple, attempt to knock down a couple, which when you're struggling to get on the board, this comes at a good time.
Yeah, where Sean can also is in transition. He's fantastic in transition. Get one of those easy baskets going down and running the floor. But sometimes when he tends to force that issue, it can get a little bit ugly.
This has been a big dominated game. Pledger with 7 and Wilkinson with 7 leads away for the Breakers.
Jackson with a little help from Mika Bacona brings it up over the timeline. Abercrombie gets a good look at the three-point shot, and he gets his first bucket.
A lot of time to shoot that one. He wound up for it.
Redditch into Neville for the long jump hook. Rebound is knocked loose, and they'll go to New Zealand. Substitutions out on the floor. It's Dylan Boucher coming in for Mika Bacona, and Wilkinson going in for Alex Pledger. He gave them some good minutes.
Steve, I'm watching Thomas Abercrombie. He might be able to shoot it like we saw the last time, but he is hobbling. He is hobbling when Wildcats really should try and maybe test him out on the defensive end as well, because he looks a little proppy.
Wilkinson with the long bomb. Curves up the quick three, and it's off the mark. Maybe want to get a little 2 for 1. 35 seconds to go here in the first. Martin looking to turn the corner. His floater is banked off the glass and good. 2-point game. It's about a half a second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Sean Redditch is going to get on the board with the lay-in. New Zealand come down for the last shot. We're all tied up at 26.
Good high-scoring battle.
Jackson, and he's fouled. Higher with the professional foul. Crowd going nuts. I'm not quite sure what they're getting riled up about.
Well, he got a lot of the ball, Steve, just with the body, and I think that they sort of wanted to. I don't know how they could even think that that wasn't a foul. But
The play of basketball gets a little bit more physical, right? You know.
but you know, that's the right play by Greg High. The last thing you want to do is have Cedric Jackson coming down the middle and dunking one on you. And with the greatest respect to Greg High, he's one that can be sacrificed, and make sure that the breakers get nothing cheap.
If he misses that, does he get another one? When Higher ran out as he was shooting the delivery of that one?
Probably should.
I think in the letter of the law, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a rule I do know.
Martin does not have the distance. So after 1 quarter of play, these two teams that have been matched up evenly all year long did just that in the first quarter. 28 to the Breakers. Perth Wildcats 26.
Push beyond your limits. On Saturday.
Two-point game after the first quarter. Lockie Reed, what have you got?
A plea from Mika Makona to the rest of his teammates. He said, we come out hard in this quarter, we come out hard in the third quarter, we'll break them down, they'll wear down, and we will win this game.
Confident message to his team. Both of these teams are so evenly matched. Saw that in the first quarter.
Steve, statistically too, both teams shot 56%. Both teams had 6 turnovers and both teams had 5 rebounds. How much more even can you get?
The only difference is the free throw line had the Wildcats at the edge and then the three-point line that the Breakers did. So it's exactly what we want, though. We want this game to be tight and close and go down to the wire.
Yeah, well, the Wildcats have only missed 1 free throw, 8 of 9. And New Zealand are 5 for 5, so they're both getting it done there, too. Drew Williamson's got that arm cocked, can't get it to go. Redditch tries to tip it to his teammate. Goes to Corletto. They want to get it back to Jackson, get it into his sure hands. Sweet crossover. He looks off the D. Ooh, all class.
That is a la Ricky Grace, Darryl McDonald type behavior with Cedric Jackson getting to the rack. What a crossover. And he made a pretty tough finish look easy going up against the big
look off
man.
the three that he had sitting in that corner there and just made it look pretty.
Yeah, he looked off the D twice in one move. That one rims out for Redditch. Loose ball goes to Dylan Boucher.
I tell you what, the offense of the Perth Wildcats is becoming critical because they've tried a few different things on the defensive end and they haven't been able to figure out a way to contain the scoring output of the New Zealand Breakers. They had 104 points in game 1 and already they're up to 32.
Boucher gets it in the middle. Wilkinson with the fall away. Man, he was already backpedaling before that one got near the rim.
Pretty casual about it too, just threw it up, he knew that was going down.
Robbins looking to explore a little bit. Redditch going inside, wants to post up the smaller Jackson. They can't get it into him.
Very high, going to throw that into Sean Redditch.
Redditch puts it on the floor. Neville can't handle it.
That early on, Greg High looked off Sean Redditch. Just throw it up high. He's got to be able to catch it. There we see after the play, Sean Redditch comes outside, but he had a great post-up opportunity on Cedric Jackson that went by. So
Jackson just in command of this game. He's fouled. He'll go to the rim once again. He is in Cedric Jackson mode, which is a nightmare for teams as he continues to just get into the paint.
just blistering quick off that first step.
And hit a few threes in game 1, so the Wildcats are aware of that, just playing him too close. I think they're just going to have to gap him that little bit more and make him make a three this game.
You've got to play him like Rajon Rondo. If he's going to hit jump shots, at least he's going to get 18 or 20, but he won't get a triple-double and get Paul Pierce 30, Garnett 30, and Ray Allen 25.
Yeah, they haven't had the formula so far with Cedric Jackson. I mean, he's a tough handle. He's got 6 points already on the night. Got the 2 assists as well. But by the same token, Steve, he was 3 of 7. I hear what you're saying. He's the lesser of 2 evils, but it's hard when you're guarding someone to have those responsibilities, to have that discipline when you know a guy's just reeled off in their previous game, 3 of 7, to back off and almost encourage him to shoot the 3.
Oh, you know, I'm not saying leave him wide open out there, but he is sure going to cause you a lot more trouble getting in the paint all night than he is at knocking down maybe 4 or 5 threes. Robbins to Toby. Toby finds Redditch, can't do it. Ball's deflected. Here comes Jackson. Quick pass to Wilkinson. He lays it up and in. That's a great touch on that pass by Jackson. He's having a monster. New Zealand have scored the last 11 points. As Lish gets the drive. Good high percentage play by the league's MVP. Gruden into Wilkinson, who's had the hot hand. He skips it over to Henry. Jackson waits for the screen, goes baseline.
I tell you what, Dylan Boucher is very much an unsung hero. Although on this time they've called the foul. And who'd they? Oh, that is terrible.
That's terrible. That had nothing to do with the play.
That is a mistake. They thought it was on Dylan Boucher. I was about to give Dylan Boucher some credit because he set, in that one offensive set, he set 3 great screens. And that last one, he got called for one that he didn't deserve. But it makes it a whole lot easier if you're a perimeter shooter like CJ Bruton, Daryl Coletto, or a guy like Jackson getting to the rim. If you know you've got someone that can set those types of picks that Dylan Boucher screens.
If that, as Lish shoots the 3s off the mark, Henry with the board. But if that push is called away from the ball all night, we could be here until 2 o'clock in the morning. That wasn't one of the better ones we'll see. That one's on Cam Toby with the push.
Perth Wildcats have been renowned right throughout the season for really testing the limits of the defense, and there's another one that's a little soft. We saw him off balance, but it was certainly there. But they test the limits of the referees with their extended defense and that real aggressive defense on the ball.
Yeah, they talked about last year about getting bigger and more physical, and they do test it, and then seem to get away with more than what they get caught for.
CJ in all kind of trouble. Crowd wanted to travel. Henry. Shot clock expires. Perth turning up the D.
And
I think CJ moved about 10 feet and only pivoted. I don't think you physically or you can keep your pivot foot down for that.
And I like the strategy. They went to a 2-3 zone and just double-team CJ, and that might be a way to combat Cedric Jackson too. Prevention's better than cure. Just get the ball out of his hands.
Kona with the rebound. Good no call by Michael Aylen. Bit of a flop there by Wagstaff. Experienced set of officials. CJ trying to create some space. Pull-up jump shot. CJ Bruton over Greg Hire.
And he's gonna keep wanting the ball at Greg Hire. No disrespect to Greg Hire, but his eyes are lighting up right now.
Wagstaff has the ability to put it on the floor. Got it all the way down to a little medium range jumper off the glass.
Steve, the New Zealand Breakers are shooting it at 65%. Now, some of it you say, you know, defense is a little shaky, but really this is more credit to the offense than discrediting the defense.
And the Wildcats themselves is shooting at 50%. Not a bad clip, and still, you know, nearly 10 points down, nearly a double-figure lead to the Breakers.
You got to look at that as kind of weather in the storm for the team that's red hot. Because if they have one of those 30% from the field halves, it could be the series over. CJ creating space, knocking down another jumper.
That ring is looking like a hula hoop to CJ Bruton. And it's just all just one-on-one, taking him off the dribble. Not a lot of structure to what CJ Bruton's doing.
Not even after a ball reversal. The defense is set and he still gets it done.
Like you said, Thomas Abercrombie's not himself, and C.J. Bruton sensing that, giving them an offensive lift. Matt Knight just bullying his way down into a position where he has to be guarded illegally.
And you know, when CJ's in this type of mood, you really got to get him the ball and just until that fire goes out, because he can do it not just on the penetration, but he can pull up from deep. There we see Andre Lamanis going through a few of the strategic moves that they're trying to advise they were giving to Gary Wilkinson in no uncertain terms.
Well, you didn't get yelled at as a player, did you, Drew?
By your dad or Linda?
Both. And Mom. Don't forget about Mark.
Oh, that's right.
Pop up.
CJ, hot man, has it in his hands. He's got the best defensive player in the competition on him, though. CJ creating some space. There he is at the three-point line. He's got it flowing. CJ with 3 straight.
He is winding back the clock. He didn't average double-figure points this season, but has he turned it on in the playoffs?
But as you get older, you want your veteran players, this is the time you want them to perform. Nurse them through the year and then come out to play playoff time.
And they've done it beautifully, the Perth Wildcats. CJ missed a few games. Have a look at this. As I said, he's just feeling that confidence. You can understand why Damian Martin went flying by like Tweety Bird, but it's still not good enough to stop the CJ Bruton.
He loves the big stage. Breakers on top by 11.
More and more Kiwis are using One Cover for their travel insurance. Our team of experts have been working hard to give you great value and service. And in April, we're working even harder with our Pack a Prize giveaway, with the new iPad and iPhone, plus Kindles, cameras, luggage, and lots more to win. Best of all, every customer in April wins a prize. Go online to win at onecover.co.nz or phone 0800 000 333.
There's his father, Cal Bruton, sitting in the stands, wearing that pinstripe suit. He's always clean, New York City. And CJ in the big stage is in double figures already on 4 of 5 shooting, 2 for 3 outside the three-point line.
Steve, back in 2004 against the West Sydney Razorbacks, CJ went 9 of 16, had 35 in a grand final game. So it's a long time ago, but right now he's in one of those moods where anything can happen. Fatigue might catch up with him because he's not as young as what he once was, but he is really feeling it right now.
Well, he's got every type of warmer you can possibly have on your body going.
Knees, elbows. They've gone back to their man-to-man. They've had a look at all their different options on the defensive end so far tonight, the Perth Wildcats. They're just too scared. They just can't stop him.
And you're not going to stop Mika Vukona one-on-one. He's so strong with the ball down there. You need to at least send someone to double team when he gets that deep.
Mika Vukona just looking after his boy. He thought Jesse Wagstaff. Oh no, it's been called on Jesse Wagstaff. He probably should have got one at the centre line. He didn't get it. Mika Vukona come in and give him the hip and shoulder to try and give some support to Daryl Coletto flying the flag. And they've called it on Jesse Wagstaff. Extraordinary.
There's CJ once again. They're trying to get it out of his hands. He delivers it. Corletto.
Oh, trap.
Remember we saw that call earlier.
And it didn't get. Have a look at this. Here's Jesse Wagstaff. Mika Vukona gives him hip and shoulder, and Jesse Wagstaff got the foul. Mika Vukona put his hand up. Wow. He conceded. The foul is mine.
Man, that's one they'll be looking at when they get evaluated for the game. You know, he didn't complain much for being such a blatant wrong call. Martin, a little off balance. Mika Vukona picks up the air ball. He aggressively puts it on the floor. That's a joke.
Mika Vukona picked up for the charge. every time the New Zealand Breakers are really exploring in the transition, trying to pick up anything
And
cheap.
the clock's running. The clock's running.
It was a little...
That was a huge, it looked like a lot more when it was live, but in the replay, there was hardly any contact.
Maybe there was some sort of conscience by the refs on that last call.
I tell you what, if there ever needed to be a makeup call, by all means,
well, you know,
we should have gotten that one.
In fairness, on that play where Jesse Wagstaff got it, he probably got away with a couple at the centre line anyway. So maybe the two little sneaky ones at the centre line, it was figured that's why they went that way, just trying to settle him down.
And we sure are trying to read a lot into a couple of calls that really didn't look right.
Trying to come up with an explanation, Steve.
Lish to Hire. Hire kind of bobbled it in the delivery, but he still knocks it down.
Important that one, Steve. That's Wildcats only 7 points in 7 minutes of basketball this quarter. That's not the sort of offensive output you're going to need to produce if you're going to win and force this to game 3.
Particularly when you're up against a white-hot team and your defense is struggling so much.
CJ Bruton misses the easiest shot he had of the game. Wagstaff, not pretty, but that goes. Boy, that was an ugly dribble drive, but it results in Perth scoring the last 4.
Massive 3 minutes here in semi-final series as Wilkinson gets the lob against the Gold Coast Blaze. This is where the Wildcats turn it on, those 3 minutes right before the end of the half. So the Breakers need to just weather this storm, go in with that 10-point lead, make sure they don't let them back into it and get it back to single digits.
Lish into Matt Knight, who has hit everything. He continues to be hot for the Perth Wildcats. Matthew Knight's got 9 on 4 of 5 shooting.
That was a tough one. He faded behind the basket, and I like it when the way they're going inside when they need a basket. Struggling to get anything going from the perimeter of the Wildcats.
Back out to CJ. His three-point bomb is good. CJ Bruton's got 13.
Steve, this is beautiful to watch. See the veteran just feeling it.
Lish just way too quick. Lish trying to help him up. Tempers are flaring.
Here we go, Steve.
Kevin Lish was trying to help up. Dylan Boucher.
He was doing nothing wrong.
See, but this is what gets the crowd involved.
This is the worst thing for the New Zealand Breakers. I know they got a nice little lead here, but they didn't need to get this type of emotion back into the game. Let sleeping dogs lie, and Andre Lemanis is doing the right thing. I think he's called for a timeout. He wants to bring the troops in. Have a look at the replay. There you see the play. He falls over. He falls on top of him. Kevin, he didn't really see it there, but Kevin Lish looked like he was trying to do the right thing. Gary Wilkinson, that is stupid, unnecessary.
Completely. I don't know whether Dylan Boucher thought that he was going to push him back down because he sort of went to grab him by the shoulders and pick him up, but yeah, that's not smart play by the Breakers.
This is a building where you really have to keep your cool. Like you said, let sleeping dogs lie. This crowd, if they're not that involved in the game,
there's nothing in it. There you saw Wilkinson come and pull Kevin Lish out. He didn't need to do that. It was all done. It was all over. We're moving on.
CJ wasn't real happy with Wilkinson either. He was barking at his teammate. Just knew that was not what they needed at this point in the game. They're up 10. They're in the driver's seat.
Well, CJ's completely aware of the situation. He knows that they're in a good one, and they don't want to let them back into it going into half-time with less of a lead than they should. They've done a great job, 51-41, building that 10-point lead. Let's get another 2-4 points from the Breakers' perspective, and they didn't need that.
A real good timeout by Andre Lemanis. I reckon just to take a little bit of emotion out of it and try and settle these teams down, because you sometimes get caught up in it, Tony. You get caught up into the euphoria of it all, and the emotions can get the better of you.
I think the fact that the Perth Wildcats are only down 10 to a team that's shooting 69%. I mean, you look up at the scoreboard and you think it's probably a bigger lead than that. I think Perth have done a great job of weathering the storm of this first half of the way that the Breakers have been blazing away.
It is, and the Breakers shooting it at 69%. There's the legend himself, one of the greatest of all time, Cal Bruton, pioneer of the game here, or one of the pioneers.
Yeah, much loved figure. Obviously came over here in the 80s and a fantastic, got this place going.
And much loved figure here in Perth. Lockie Reed on the sidelines.
Yeah, good on you, Steve. Well, a bit of a spray from CJ Bruton, as you said, to Gary Wilkins. Bit of humour, though. Gary Wilkinson actually didn't know it was him who will come to the sportsmanlike. He actually asked whether it was him. CJ saying they've just got to be smarter. This building will chew them up if we lose control. And Coach Andre Lamana saying, make them shoot jump shots. Don't let them get the easy baskets.
That's a pretty quick trigger by the referees to call the unsportsmanlike, and this could be a huge turnaround heading into the halftime break.
Lish with the pass and the layup. There's the big swing. 2 in possession turns into 4.
6-point play, Steve.
Another turnover. Here come the Wildcats. Lish in the open court. His shot is blocked, but he recovers it. Wildcats have scored the last 6. Robbins finds Redditch.
Down low, Cedric Jackson.
That's what I was talking about earlier. Brad Robbins loving playing down low. He's a strong player at the best of times, and he just feels he has that advantage. Sorry, it was Greg Hire, so throw that completely out the window. Wrong player, but...
Same principles apply, though. Greg Hire down low and Cedric Jackson. Good look, and Cedric Jackson trying to deny him the ball. Wow, a real pivotal play. That score, unsportsmanlike foul, 2 free throws and a score. He goes from a 12-point lead to a 6-point lead in the blink of an eye.
Corletto, they throw the basketball away. Again, the relentless pressure of the Perth Wildcats. Ball be inbounded back on the baseline. Nobody touched it. Wildcats score the last 7.
Let's go, Wildcats, let's go.
Hire having trouble getting it in. Eventually gets it. Turns the corner. Tough shot by Hire. Wildcats on a 9-0 run. It's a 3-point game inside of a minute here till halftime.
Greg Hire was the last player signed for the Perth Wildcats before the start of the season. Didn't know whether he was going to have a job, and now having a huge impact. And CJ Bruton gets bailed out.
Ray Hunt has called all those little Nicky Hands fouls. I don't mean to single him out, but I reckon that was as clean as you could get. Yeah. All right.
When the big man starts putting his hands in, very rarely do they get the benefit of the doubt. And that one was a classic example of it. Luke Neville just trying to reach in with CJ Bruton.
CJ with a karma miss. He hasn't missed too often. They're really heavy on that first one. Gets the second one to go. Back to a 4-point game. Robbins bring it up. Crowd on their feet once again. Redditch skips it to Hire. The 3-point shot is off the mark. Redditch with the offensive rebound. He was trying to deliver that pass.
Pull that one back out. He got the rebound, was just off balance. Could have got that out. Taking a bit of time off the clock as well.
Greg Hire, I think, was thinking 2 for 1 there. The 24-second shot. He took that early 3. Wide open. He can knock those down. And going for the 2 for 1, wanted to get the ball back.
Well, he looks comfortable in this game. He had the post up, got himself to the foul line. He's a smart player.
Yeah, he's been performing unbelievably in the State League over here. Had some big numbers, and he's performed admirably when he gets his minutes, gets his opportunity. He's probably taken over Drew Williamson's spot, who used to come in and play a few minutes. He now takes Greg Hire in the rotation.
Yeah, Hire gives you a little bit more rebounding, a little bit more of the defensive end. Maybe not quite as sharp from the 3-point line, but Drew Williamson's had his problems this season. Off his knee.
Michael Aylen. I think that's a good piece of officiating. And Redditch really barking at him, gives him a warning. Let him play some ball. It's going to be an emotional game. CJ bringing it up. Last possession here in the first half. Bruton's been unstoppable here in the first half. CJ to Wilkinson for three. His three ball's off the mark. Look at the Wildcats.
It amazes me how many teams take the shot with 3 seconds left. There's enough time for Perth to advance the ball here. Oh.
CJ selling it beautifully. This is going to give Andre Lamanis a chance to set up a play and get another scoring option. Good defense by CJ Bruton. Picked it. And Robbins ran right over the top of it.
That's just a very good defensive play. CJ Bruton doing that both ends of the floor.
And good call.
54 to 48. 1.8 seconds left here. And like you said, Andre Lamanis able to come up with a play.
Yeah.
And
have a look at what Andre is going to draw up in this half-court set. 1.8 seconds, plenty of time, Steve, to come off and catch and even get a dribble to get a shot off.
Or a pump fake, like Christian Laettner did in that game against Kentucky, one of the better college games I've seen.
And you would expect that somehow or other CJ Bruton will be involved in this. They brought Daryl Coletto on as well, spot up. They got Wilkinson, Coletto, CJ Bruton, all good three-point shooters. Dylan Boucher, you'd leave him out on the three-point line for a week and he wouldn't make one, so he's going to be the one throwing the ball inbounds.
Yeah, he'll be taking it out. It's like the kid that brought the basketball. That's the only reason he's out there.
In this set, you're right.
Long pass to Pledger. He can't handle it. That's a long time.
That's ridiculous.
That can't possibly be
that
right.
That cannot possibly be correct.
There's not a chance.
There's 1.8 seconds left.
We're talking about was the time correct? No. I guess we're asking was the time correctly started when Pledger tapped the ball into the side of the backboard. Yes, the time was correctly started.
Oh my!
Well, he asked, you heard him. Rocky Reed's got CJ Bruton, the hot man.
Well, CJ Bruton, you're having the game of your life right now. You are feeling it.
Yes, it's a pretty good start. Obviously, we're in front. We had a hiccup in the middle when we got the tech foul, but again, we need to continue to keep the pressure on them, obviously playing at home.
You had a bit of a word to Gary Wilkinson. I mean, in this place, you've just got to be smarter, don't you?
Yeah, you can't afford to give the jungle a chance to get excited, and obviously that was an instance where Dylan and Lish were into it, and he tried to butt in, act like he was a big tough guy, and it's good on him to stick up for his teammates, but at the end of the day, hey, we don't need that sort of concept right now.
Well done, mate. Looking forward to a second half action.
Same here.
Well, the officials went to the bench to see if the clock had been started correctly, and the lob pass that went to Alex Pledger, he bobbled it, and we'll get a look here, and the clock should start when he touches it. So there's 1.8 seconds. Did he get it off? They allowed to tip it. There's about 3 things that happened in 1.8 seconds.
Closer than I thought, Steve.
Yeah, it was closer, but it was a lot longer than 1.8 seconds. But the Breakers get a break, and they're up here at halftime, 56 to 48. And the boys will be talking about the halftime in a second. 0.5%. So they're hanging in there, and Perth are always dangerous here in the third quarter, and they've got the first possession. Redditch hasn't been able to get it going, create some space for himself, pivots. Lamanis and the Breakers wanted to travel, but we've seen some loose footwork here in the first half.
Yes,
We'd be unlucky if he got called for one.
That would have been picked one out. Just picking on someone if they called that one a travel.
And Steve, I like the play to start the second half. I think that the Wildcats, if they're going to have to try and continue to shoot their way out of this, as the New Zealand Breakers. They need to get Sean Redditch involved. He's 1 of 5 in the first half. That's only his 5th point for the game. So they need to find those other scoring options. So good to get him going early. Oh.
Turnover. Damian Martin upstairs and gets the finish.
And he is still hurt. He came down on that ankle. He's not looking that great.
There's Jackson. They get it inbound. Perth, they're so good at just turning the screws on the defensive end with that extended pressure. Team's having trouble getting the ball in. Mika Bacona finds Corletto. He misses the layup, had to get it off quick. The ball's loose and Neville comes up with it.
That was perceived pressure rather than real pressure. Daryl Corletto amongst the tall timber there, short-armed it and missed one that he should have made.
Lish gets it to Neville, who started off the first half. Aggressive, gets the score. Lockie Reed has an NBL legend with him right now.
Yeah, certainly do, Steve Calpino. I've got Cal Bruton with me in the stands. Your son was on fire in the second half. Can he keep it going?
Well, he's just focused, you know. As you know, he picks his moments. So, from my perspective, I'm just watching him. He's just looking at the score, the time, and then he picks his moments to do his thing.
You've played a lot of basketball. You've played in this competition. This is one of the great games, isn't it? A great series.
Man, the last 2 games have been overtime. It don't get much better than this. You look across the world, when you got teams that closely separated, then you know there's always going to be a big game. So, at the end of the day, I think this will go down as the greatest series in NBL history.
We'll take that, Cal. Thank you very much. Boys, back to you. It's good enough for me.
Might be getting a bit ahead of himself.
Sorry.
But it's certainly in the makings of it, that's for sure. There we see the foul on Luke Neville. But this is a real shaky start. Speaking of Brutons, you saw his dad. CJ might have to get out on this court earlier than what the coach Andre Romanis was hoping, as the Wildcats reel off the first 6 points.
Cal Bruton with another big statement, as he has throughout his entire career. And Dylan Boucher travels. So again, another turnover for New Zealand.
Little shuffling of the feet, like you said, Steve. A few of those probably have gone uncalled throughout the game, but that one, so you can see just a little jumping of the feet, lifting the pivot foot before he put the ball to the floor. There's a foul, this time on Dylan Boucher.
And Kevin Lish showing you why he's such a tough cover. Getting into the body of Dylan Boucher. Getting himself to the foul line. Matthew Knight comes in for Luke Neville. Knight was a major factor in the first half, picking up 9 points of 4 of 5 shooting.
Luke Neville picked up that 3rd foul. Probably why Rob Beveridge wanted to get Matthew Knight in for 2 reasons. One, to try and protect Luke Neville, but also because, like you mentioned, Matthew Knight doing such a good job down low as a scoring option.
Damian Martin misses the layup. Jackson finds, he'd be fine. He found Wilkinson. Tovey. Damian Martin's clearly limping off of that leg. Mishandle. Jackson turns on the Jets. He's got Abercrombie. They'll slow it down. Jackson waits for the ball screen. Gets through a small gap, gets it back out to Wilkinson. He spins. Tough shot by Wilkinson. Rebounded by Redditch. Redditch looking for Knight. He's got a smaller Dylan Boucher on his back. Lish got a good look outside the 3-point line. It rims out. Jackson to Abercrombie. Corletto lines up his 3-ball. That's off the mark.
Corletto struggling from the field tonight. 0-3. He's yet to score a point. And now picks up the foul on Daryl Corletto. Not a bad look for Daryl Corletto in the flow of the game. Really, he's been struggling to get good scoring options. Missed that little short one underneath the basket early on, but when you're struggling to get your shot going, in the transition, get a nice open one like that.
And particularly when that's what he's known for, is that three ball. He drains them more often than not.
Yeah, you live with that one if you're Andre Lamanis, that field goal attempt.
Lish back to Wagstaff. His three-point shot is long. Robbins just too strong for CJ. A long time in the key. No call. Matthew Knight misses the layup. Toby can't get it. Wilkinson trying to get tied up.
Incredible how that ball didn't go in the hole.
Couple times.
Three real good looks.
Jackson keeps his dribble alive. Wilkinson for three. That's good. That rattles around and goes down. He's waving his three-point shot to the crowd. Good strip by Jackson. He's got numbers, and he's fouled by Wagstaff. That could be very close to be 2 in possession.
It was, and they've called it to regulation. Look at Cedric Jackson, all the tricks, and he finds the open Wilkinson. And Wilkinson's one you got to take the good with the bad. He can do such great things on the offensive end. But after he made that shot, he came running back and did his absolute very best to incite the crowd into violence.
He's doing a very good job of it, and they will respond. They will give it back to him.
Earlier in the week, after the press conference at game 1, he was giving it, Rob Beveridge was giving it to Wilkinson about celebrating in game 1. And Wilkinson's response was, hey, I celebrate when I'm playing a video game at home.
He did. And he's one of those players that thrives on being the antagonist.
Lish misses another layup.
That's about 2 or 3 now that the Wildcats have had little 2-footers just rimmed out. Toby had one, Damian Martin had one. Now Lish.
And there's the streak. Wildcats have gone 3:27 without a field goal. Robbins, he may have traveled. The whole bench was up for New Zealand. But Robbins gets the score. There's that field goal. Wilkinson, catch and shoot at the three-point line. It's long. Lish in attack mode. Higher. Trying to get it tonight on a seal. Lish turning the corner. He finds the open Brad Robbins. Contact, no call. Good pass to Hire. His float is good. Boy, this game has really turned up the intensity. Still a 4-point lead for the New Zealand Breakers, who have weathered every storm. CJ for 3.
Moving screen on Dylan Boucher. As he's passed it, he hasn't got himself into a stationary position and created a little bit too much space for CJ Bruton. Andre Lamanis has seen enough. He needs to have a bit of a chit-chat about the goings-on so far in the third quarter.
Sure has. 63-59. We'll be back.
The controversial clean-out of 2011 is paying dividends.
Conrad Smith to score. What drama!
Hammett's Hurricanes have a new heart.
Now Taylor. What a try!
And tonight, his young Chargers look to make a statement against the mighty Crusaders.
Rips it away. Israel down.
A mouth-watering clash from the capital. Hurricanes Crusaders, live tonight, Sky Sport 1. Coverage brought to you by Placemakers.
Plenty action as always here at Challenge Stadium in Perth, home of the Wildcats. Put on a pretty good game night presentation, one of the best in the competition. And it never hurts with the atmosphere packed out. And Tony, I hear that the tickets were sold out in record time.
Yeah, I struggled to get some for a couple of mates. I had to go straight to the top, the CEO.
4 minutes. 4 minutes they said it took to sell this arena out, and this could be the last game here in this
Could
venue.
be, yeah. Moving to the new Perth Arena next year, which has created a little bit of controversy on the cost. That, I think it's blown out about 4 times the budget or something.
Well, it seats 12,000 people, and they could have sold that out 3 times over the way the Perth fans have gotten behind their team this season.
Wagstaff's long. Hire pulls down the board. Wagstaff has it stripped. Henry in a foot race. He might want to give this thing up. Gets it to CJ. Lockie Reed, what have you got?
Oh, Rob Beveridge very unhappy with his team in that timeout. He said, guys, you got to shoot the ball. And he said to Matty Knight, you got to dunk that thing when you get underneath the basket.
Yeah, a couple of missed layups by the Perth Wildcats. Pleasure just runs down Jesse Wagstaff.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I reckon Pledger was minimal contact, and Jesse just made that one look a little worse. Some of these refs, they're getting a little bit charge happy. They love to pull out that charge. I hope it just doesn't ruin the game.
Higher foul by Henry. I think one of the reasons, I think sometimes, I'm not criticizing these refs, but sometimes officials can get carried away with that charge call because it's such an aggressive call with the fist in the hand and the crowd's going crazy.
Yeah, put the emotion into it, the full thrust.
I tell you what, Greg Hire is coming on and playing some quality minutes. He's got 7 points, 3 of 4 tonight. But as I mentioned earlier, the last player signed on the roster, but a young man coming into a team that's got a lot of veterans on it. Just before the halftime, at the end of the warm-ups of the halftime break, he was the one that got the team together and was delivering the motivation, the rah-rah, getting the boys rallied behind everyone. So impressive on the floor, but also those leadership qualities.
Well, you don't teach those, do you? They're sort of there, and that's a great thing for the Wildcats in their future.
CJ for 3. That rattles out. Higher with the big rebound. Fouled by McCona. Not a great foul by McCona. The crowd love it.
And it's going to send Higher to the line. Shoot a couple of free throws a game. Great rebound. 4 rebounds to the game. Goes up, and there you see the little grab. Vicavacona averaged 4 personal fouls a game and registered 4 or more fouls in 22 of the regular season games this season. So he is a foul waiting to happen.
You would expect that he is going to get some fouls because of his aggressive play, but at least 2 of them. Well, 2 fouls here are silly tonight.
You can't give those up, especially when you play as aggressive as him.
CJ Bruton bring it up. 1-point game for the Breakers. Trying to close this series out, of course. Wildcats trying to stay alive. Pleasure with the seal. Great little agile play by the big 7-footer.
Big to big down low. Wilkinson with that switch always going to be a matter of whether Pledger makes it or misses it when he's got Kevin Lish on him. And that's going to be a foul on Daryl Coletto.
Man, when there's a guy attacking you like that, it is so hard to contain it.
I don't know what else Pledger could have done in this situation.
Well, the foul's on Coletto.
No, he called it on. I think he called it on.
I thought he signaled 3. I think it was the push on Daryl Coletto, because you're dead right. There's nothing Pledger could have done. He was straight up and down. Although Pledger now has 4 personal fouls, so you might be right, Tony. And Andre Lamanis has got to think about whether or not he keeps him in. If I'm Andre Lamanis, I'm getting him out. He's too important. He's got the 4 fouls.
Well, come on, this is the league MVP. He's got to get a few calls.
There's nothing wrong with the call. I think they just got it on the wrong guy. I think it was Coletto that should have been the foul on.
Wilkinson with a fall away. Tough shots off the mark. Fouls on Leon Henry. And this is where New Zealand have to weather this storm. Crowd riding every single call.
And this has just been a superb defensive quarter by the Perth Wildcats. Every single possession contested, and the work they're doing on the boards. We saw in the first half, Pledger getting in there and sneaking a few rebounds. That time, you saw the block out on Henry, and he gets called for the foul with a little shove in the back against the much smaller Greg Hire. It's all locked up.
You know, you can't keep fouling 90 feet from the basket when a team's in a bonus. Down, and the Wildcats have a 1-point lead. Crowd on their feet once again. Corletto to Pledger. Nice feed. Pledger for the jam. Dunks it on higher. Another high-low pass, or low to high. That time it's from Wilkinson. Back to Pledger as he makes a strong cut to the basket.
That's a beautiful thing to see the big fellas working in tandem like that. You saw the double team. Greg Hyatt goes down to help out. Pledger does the right thing and dives to the basket and catches it and stuffs it in.
Pledger once again coming off the bench and giving New Zealand a big boost. 2-point lead on the three-point play by Pledger. Wagstaff lines up the three ball. It's good. Jesse Wagstaff with the bomb. It's the Wildcats back on top by 1.
First three-pointer of the game for the Perth Wildcats. They're 1 of 9. And that'll break your heart with Gary Wilkinson.
He gave you nothing. He gave you nothing.
Comes back and splashes one right back at him.
I was waiting for the big three to go up for you, mate. He gave you nothing. You must have listened.
Higher trying to get the smaller Corletto down low. Off balance shot is way off the mark. Wilkinson with the board gets it to CJ Bruton to calm things down. CJ. They get it to Jackson. Pledger.
That was just a breakdown in communication between Hire and Knight. They forced the switch and had a mismatch, tried to switch back, and they both ran to the same man.
Higher down on the wing to the opposite wing is Robbins. His pull-up jump shot's off the mark. The long rebound goes to
Greg Hyatt trying to crash the board. CJ Bruton does the right thing, tries to block out. Hyatt pushes him over, gets called up for the foul. CJ perhaps using some of that experience and exaggerating the little push in the back.
Yeah, I'm sure CJ just usually times those right about when his team's in the bonus too.
Yep, goes to the line. He wants that ball in this moment, doesn't he? You can just see that he wants to take this game over. I hope he mixes it up a little bit, get to the rack. He's missed his last few threes. He was effective in game 1 and get into the rim. Let's hope he does that as well in this game too.
Bring it up against Damian Martin. His pressure isn't as relentless as it normally is with that bad wheel. Jackson against Martin. They skip it to Bruton. He's got a good look at the three-point line. That's good.
Or you can keep shooting the three.
CJ Bruton with the swagger. Lucky Reed, what are you swaggering about?
Well, a bit of concern for the Perth Wildcats down here. Kevin Lish just copped a really bad cork. He's come off in a fair bit of pain, getting an ice down. They'll need him back on very, very soon, boys.
That's a big shot by Damian Martin. We saw the last possession with Brad Robbins. It seems like the New Zealand Breakers determined with both Damian Martin and Brad Robbins, they're going to go underneath the screen, and there you see it. So when you go underneath the screen like that, that shot's going to be available at any stage. So it's going to make it start hitting a few, makes the Breakers think about how they're going to play that pick and roll.
CJ gets it to Abercrombie. Wilkinson. Shot clock to 7. CJ lines up a medium range shot, comes up short. 20 seconds to go here in the third. We're getting closer to a decision of whether this series will go to 3 games. Wildcats trying to trim into that 5-point lead. Robbins to Martin. Way off the mark. Abercrombie loses the handle, but I think that's all the time we have, and he's hurt that ankle.
He might have retweaked it.
Well, that's it. End of the third quarter. It's the Breakers up by 5, but that could hurt. I think this is the last we're going to see of Thomas Abercrombie, but his team is on top by 5. We'll be back with the fourth quarter right after this.
Engine started. Motorsport on Sky Sport.
Wildcat is a business tool that increases profits through new customers, also raising product profile, which is exactly what we did for Dad's Pies. Kevin is committed to helping Hot Spring Spas clear additional stock.
Matt will go to extremes to understand your business. What a guy!
Bartercard believes in New Zealand business and are here to help your business grow. Bartercard, deals money can't buy.
Working awfully late, Sharon?
It's been a long day. Just leave it, please.
Look at me! I'm a 42-inch plasma, Sharon!
But you never want to go out. You never leave the house.
I suppose he's the one that you've been seeing on Friday nights.
Well, what do you expect? You always have the rugby on, and I want to watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I'm going to bed.
Sharon!
Catch up on any programs you may have missed online. Cheat on your TV with iSky.co.nz.
The man who ignites debate.
Didn't like him, thought he was too tough.
It annoys me, it really annoys me.
The show with the burning issues.
Last weekend, he's out on the booze again. When he's injured.
The seat that carries some heat.
That's a hard one to answer.
Deeker on Sports.
And it is huge news.
It was a horrible feeling.
It's a blackmail job.
What was said?
Yeah, it's a good question. I couldn't care less.
He's going to thump you in a moment.
Deeker on Sports. Wednesday, Sky Sport 2.
Well, everybody's pushing and shoving, but what it all comes down to is that trophy right there. The NBL Championship trophy. New Zealand trying to make it 2 straight. Minor Premiers 2 years in a row, trying to close it down. They're up 1 in this series, trying to win in the most hostile place in the country, Challenge Stadium.
And Steve, only 5 times in the history of the competition in a grand final game has a team come back from a 5-point or more or greater deficit in the after trailing by 5 or more in the third. So odds are statistically against the Perth Wildcats.
Yeah, it's stacked against them. Good start for New Zealand, too. Getting a point-blank shot. Wagstaff has to foul Wilkinson, who's got 27 points.
What?
Really?
68% from the field. He's also got 6 rebounds. And Pledger, it's the big 2 down low. Pledger's got 14 and CJ Bruce's got 17.
Yeah, he can wave his 3-point signal all night with those numbers going into the 4th quarter. Wagstaff will come up short on that. Looked like his elbow was clipped. Jackson. And Wagstaff just bumped once. Wasn't happy with that, bumped him twice.
He got a few bumps along there. They let that one go, but they weren't going to let the third one go on Cedric Jackson.
Kevin Lish checks back into the game. He's got that severely corked thigh. He can worry about that one tomorrow morning because he's going to be sore with that. Jackson having a little trouble getting it in. Gets it to Boucher. Corletto, shot clock down to 6. Jackson with the 3-point bomb. Big shot by Cedric Jackson with the shot clock winding down, making it an 8-point game. That was huge. Lish to Neville on a steal and the jam. Good response by the Perth Wildcats, just staying within striking distance. Corletto with a good look at the 3-point line. That's off the mark. Loose ball goes to Lish, who hobbles over and gets it. There's a few guys hobbling out on the floor. To Martin. Throws it upstairs to Redditch. He misses an easy one.
Real crucial stage of the game we got right now. More so for the Wildcats because they trail it by 6. The break is a real good opportunity to really make it difficult.
Corletto, they run him off the 3-point line. Jackson with the shot clock winding down. He can't get that one to go.
Damien Martin is just not right. He can't push off that.
Hurry up. Yeah, got it over.
Toby to Martin. struggling just to make it up the floor. Redditch throw it up top to Neville. Martin at the three-point line, that's off. I think you got to think about getting him out of the game.
Yeah.
And they're really just conceding him on the perimeter. He's going to have any shot available to him on the perimeter, Damian Martin.
He's a warrior. He's going to give it all he's got. Bad pass by Jackson, but somehow he gets it back. That should be a foul.
Kevin Lish. Wow.
Good play by Jackson. He lost the ball. Got possession of it again. Lish had to come over his back to get it. Orlando and Dylan Boucher come out. Mika Makona, Thomas Abercrombie check back in. Damian Martin's got a bad wheel. Abercrombie's got a bad wheel.
Gary Wilkinson checks out. Pledger comes back in. Now, I'd go with Pledger. He's got those 4 fouls. See how whether he's going to defend or how he's going to defend and try and draw him into that 5th.
Abercrombie to Bacona. Oh, he traveled.
There you go.
Yeah.
Got to call that one.
Yeah, he did it nice and slow, just in case they weren't watching.
Make sure they picked it up.
6 points to march. Everybody, want to see him.
Well, Rob Beveridge taking the car that's gotten him here. He's going to stick with Damian Martin. Redditch. He needs to get it going for the Wildcats, and he knocks down a little short-range jumper. 4-point game. New Zealand, they've been able to weather every storm the Wildcats have thrown at them. Bacona down low, gets it to Bruton for a good look. Steps to the side, he's off the mark.
Fatigue starts to become a factor. 35 years of age. Sean Redditch just have not been able to get anything going from the three-point line tonight. The Perth Wildcats are now 1 of 12.
Jackson with the hesitation finds Abercrombie for 3. That's good. Thomas Abercrombie with the big three-point bomb. That was huge.
And Andre Lamanis was about to inject Daryl Coletto for Andre Lamanis. I think Thomas Abercrombie hit that 3. Gave himself a bit more time on the floor.
Lish for 3. Toby can't reel it in, and Redditch runs over C.J. Bruton.
Steve, you got Pledger on 4 fouls. Luke Neville presenting those targets down low, and they're blazing away from the perimeter.
Especially when the 3 hasn't been working for them all game.
It's just not on.
They've got to come up with something different. They've got to go inside, and that'll open up their perimeter shots. Shots will show up at it opposite once they start to collapse. The defense starts to collapse.
Lish on that last one, he's been a warrior trying his hardest, but he's 3 of 10 from the field.
Jackson, little hesitation, gets all the way to the rim. He misses a layup. Well, the criticism of Perth that they will give you a chance, and that'll count. Lish gets all the way to the rim for the score.
Isn't it amazing? Look, the Breakers going down, probably have a 7-point lead if they make that layup. Kevin Lish, a bad defensive transition from the Breakers. Now going to the line, 3-point play, bring it back to within 4 points. That's a big turnaround from the Breakers' perspective.
That's a huge one. Like you said, Cedric Jackson, that would be one he'd make 9 out of 10 times.
Relatively, you're dead right. I mean, if that goes in there up by 9, it really just changes the whole complexion of the way the Wildcats are going to play.
Williamson's not even close. Sean Redditch gets the follow-up. And just like that, the Wildcats have the last 4. And it's a 3-point game. Like you said, very easily could have been 9. Perth right back in it. Bacona spins to Jackson for 3. That's long. Martin with a rebound. We're going the other way.
Cedric Jackson hit that long bomb 3-pointer. He thought he found the formula. He's now clutching at his ankle. He's missed his last 2. And CJ Bruton's coming on for Cedric Jackson, and he looks like he's hobbling.
Yeah.
So Abercrombie, Jackson, Martin,
and Lish. With the
all,
cork eye.
all banged up. He just goes to a game 3. Talk about a war of attrition.
Yeah, and this series has been spread out too. The availability of the venues.
In hindsight, it's been a great thing with the injuries and illnesses to both these teams. As Matty Knight steps out and hits the mid-range jumper.
How about the Wildcats calling that play a down screen for Matty Knight coming out to shoot the 15-footer.
Backdoor cut. Corletto creates some space. His shot is blocked by the pair of guards. Lish or Damian Martin, take your pick.
Damian Martin is so good at that, just coming from behind, reading the play, just getting a hand on the ball.
He comes up with the defensive play, the defensive player of the year. We'll be back.
Love him or hate him.
You know shit about boxing.
You can't help but watch him. Floyd Mayweather, the king of the ring, versus Miguel Cotto, the Puerto Rican powerhouse fighting for redemption.
It's all over.
A hard hitter collides with a world-class defensive fighter. Can the king continue his reign? Mayweather versus Cotto, Sunday, May 6th. Book now at skytv.co.nz/my-account.
Welcome back. Let's check out the foul situation because we're here in a close game that could possibly go into overtime. And 22 fouls for the Breakers. And those are the field goals.
A little glitch there, but Steve, what's also important is the areas where you look at the Wildcats there, they've struggled tonight. 1 of 14 from the three-point line, but they've had 28 free throw attempts, 22 of 28, shooting it at 78%, which is respectable. But from the, in contrast, the New Zealand Breakers, they've only had 16 free throw attempts, so at 62%, 10 of 16.
Well, we've got 2 players from each team on 4 fouls. We'll keep an eye on that. We've got plenty of time to go here in the 4th. Corletto creates a little space. That's locked.
Corletto in a funk tonight.
He's struggling.
0 of 5. And has 1 assist and 2 rebounds.
He rushed that. That wasn't even close. Redditch for 3. That's short. Big rebound by Wilkinson.
And they continue to blaze away from the three-point line where it's just down. Matty Knight showing that all night that he's a good scoring option down low. I just don't know why they're not milking that a little bit more and getting it into their bigs down low. At least getting it there for the kick out. They're just whipping it around the perimeter.
Well, that's the criticism of them all year is they blaze away. They live by that and they die by that.
But Steve, they're 1 of 15 right now and 1-point game.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. Because at some point you got to put the cue in the rack and say, hey, Matty Knight is going to work down there. And he's shooting it at 5 of 8 from the field. Wilkinson gets 1 out of 2. And even in saying that, it's a 2-point game.
It is. They've done a great job, given the way that the Breakers have blazed away, being so efficient on the offensive end, of really hanging in the game.
Redditch loses the handle. And then loses the ball. Redditch may be guilty of trying to do a little bit too much. Pressing his game a little bit.
Redditch has only got he's got 10 points, 3 of 10 from the field.
CJ for 3. Oh my goodness. CJ Bruton, he looks like he fell awkwardly and he's hobbling a little bit as well.
The way they're falling, the Breakers going to want to get it in 2.
Oh, Redditch, did he travel on that one? Andre Lamanis agrees with me. He took 3 steps.
Yeah, he got a running start into that one as we check out CJ's long-range 3-ball.
Here's this.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, he went a long way.
Oh, my.
I tell you what, that makes you a hell of an offensive threat when you get 3 steps. Cover some ground.
You know, he didn't need. He could have just taken the dribble.
Yeah.
He just wanted to get his timing and
bit of momentum.
Perth Wildcats have been hanging in there.
Yeah,
just haven't been able to get over the line.
Yeah, like they're not playing that well. The Breakers are the ones that are dominating, hitting the big shots, the Wilkinsons, the CJs, but they're not going away. It's only a 3-point game.
It's a one-possession game. And here, the Wildcats in their full court pressure. They get it into CJ. They got a couple of handlers over there. They get back to him. Mr. Big Stage, Bruton brings it up. They get it up to Jackson. Wilkinson goes to turn the corner, no call. Abercrombie for three, that rims out. Loose ball goes to Lish. And some sportsmanship there by the veteran.
it's only the third team foul for the Breakers. CJ's hobbling.
Yep.
And Andre Martis decides to take him out of the game. I'm pretty sure he's only going to be out for a minute or so.
He's going to the end of the bench, too.
Yep.
Yeah, he asked for a sub, and yeah, I think he's cramping up. As the medical staff will look to him, they need to get him back out there in a hurry. And Corletto hasn't been his night. That's the guy you don't want to leave wide open, though. Wagstaff for three. Another three-point shot. Robbins. Oh, tonight. Williamson, he's off the mark.
They're just killing themselves right now.
Well, you know what? We say that, but one of these will go. When you're listening statistically, they're well overdue. One of 17 now.
They believe in themselves.
Yeah.
Those are good looks.
Yeah.
Well, they are, but they're going in.
They hit it. It's a tie ball game with one stroke. They've been doing it all year. Lish has Jackson on him. Kicks it back out to Wagstaff for three. Another three off the mark. Robbins, they get it into Matty Knight. His medium range jump shot is short. Finally, New Zealand get the stop. Boy, Wagstaff will flop. Bacona looking for some space. To Wilkinson. Contact, that'll be a charge. Wilkinson thought he was inside the circle as he turns the corner.
Didn't look like he had great position there. No. If anything, perhaps a nose ball would have been the best option. So the Wildcats get a break on that play.
Plenty of time left with just a three-point deficit. And the enormity of the situation is quite evident on every possession.
Yeah. They come hard on this. Let's have Jesse. Jesse here. Right. Jesse, you're there. Matty, you're here. Okay, so right now we're coming off that. We're coming through the gut. So nail it about here, nail it there. Coming through. We're looking for you with the three. Okay? Now, you're slipping. Set the screen. If he shows, slip on that. So for you, if you don't have the shot, Matty, screen, come in here, get your feet in the poke there. Okay? So shallow, squeeze. Hey, defensively, keep going the two on the on-ball screen. 3, 2, 1.
Couldn't quite see the board there. Don't know exactly what play they're going, but again, it looks like coming off a pick for a perimeter shot. And you say, well, how is it that the Perth Wildcats are still in this game? They've shot it at 42% and the New Zealand Breakers at 52%, but really it's been the work on the glass. We saw in that last possession when they gave their team an extra couple of goes at it. They've out-rebounded the New Zealand Breakers 37-24. So it's only in that real hard work on the glass that's been able to keep the Wildcats in this game because they haven't shot the ball well, particularly from the perimeter.
And they've been to the foul line 30 times. Lynch creates some space for three. That's long. Jackson with the long rebound. And he'll bring it up.
2 minutes to go. A lot of time. Only a 3-point ball game, but this is a massive possession.
Jackson with a terrible one-hand pass. He turns it over. Lish splits the D. He's got space, turns the jumper down. Matthew Knight's got two guys on him. The re-entry pass. Contact, no call. Damian Martin with the rebound. Lish to Wagstaff. His reverse layup is good through traffic.
Oh, they called us. Guys fell on the ground and the referees wanted to wipe up the floor, but that was not the time to make that call. Cedric Jackson has the ball ready to go down to the fast break. There you see the collision. Guys are flying. Have a look at this. Cedric Jackson's out and all he's got is a 2-on-1 with Matty Knight, so the Perth Wildcats get another break.
They keep getting them. 1-point game. How about that rebound by Damian Martin? He put everything into getting that and he came down hobbling.
If they win this game, it's purely their work on the boards that's got them over the line.
CJ Bruton, he's gone cold in the second half, but he's as dangerous as anybody in the late stages of the game. Mika O'Connor travels.
And he had CJ Bruton out the top too, wide open. Didn't see him. And the spin before he puts the ball to the floor. A couple of huge turnovers by the usually reliable New Zealand breakers. Cedric Jackson with just a terrible executed pass. And then we see Vakona with the spin gets called for the travel.
Wildcats down one, a minute to go. Lish, Matthew Knight, this pass goes down. Tipped in by Wilkinson, and the Perth Wildcats have the lead.
Timeout on the floor, on the basket. Can you believe that, Steve Carfino? A freakish slap off the hands. Ball bounces up and goes in the rim. Have a look at this. When the hoop gods are smiling, they're smiling upon the Perth Wildcats when you see a play like that.
Absolutely nothing that Wilkinson could have done about that. And this is why you want to put a team away, because they haven't been able to do it. Now they've got their chances. We listen to Rob Beveridge.
Self-inflicted wounds.
You're going to run shots. G, you're here. Sorry. Mika, you're here. CJ, sorry. CJ, you're throwing it in. Cedric, you're here. Mika, step out. Get that catch. CJ, you're hard off. G, you're coming and setting the back screen for Tom. Yeah. And if CJ doesn't like it, he's going to call you into an on-ball. Okay. So you got the first one, and then you got G coming into an on-ball. Mika, after you hand it off, hard to the basket. And CJ comes off the second one, you play. G, you'll pick and pop. Cedric, you hang out in that corner.
So on that play there, they ignore Cedric Jackson. They go to CJ Bruton for that early handoff after the inbounds. And then, surprisingly to me, that the second option is going to be Thomas Abercrombie in the corner for the perimeter shot as well.
Lockie, what have you got?
Oh, the message from Rob Beveridge is keep. It is simple. Keep the ball out of CJ Bruton's hand in the next 53 seconds. I can't get into the Breakers huddle because they kicked me out. Can you believe that?
I can believe that. Well, CJ Bruton isn't the only dangerous man for New Zealand. Plenty of time. We might have a couple of lead changes here in the last minute. CJ's got it in his hands. CJ to Abercrombie. CJ with a mismatch. Knight. Wilkinson. They find Vakona. The pass is thrown away. 3 straight turnovers down the stretch for New Zealand. 2-possession game. Wildcats up by 1. Robbins to Lish. The ball's knocked away.
Ray Hunt blew his whistle.
He blew his whistle.
So who's got the ball?
It's got to be New Zealand ball. They collected it.
That's the right call.
Absolutely, it is the right call. An inadvertent whistle by Ray Hunt, not a timely time to do it, of course. But again, it's probably to the benefit of the Wildcats because Abercrombie was going down to put it in.
New Zealand have another crack. C.J. Bruton with Brad Robbins, one of the better defenders in the league, against one of the best clutch players the league's ever seen. C.J. on the mismatch with Matty Knight. He wants it. C.J. gets to the rim. His floater. By Sean Redditch. He comes up with the defensive play. Perth Wildcats have got the win here at Challenge Stadium. Huge play by Sean Redditch.
Steve, I don't know the game's over. I think they're still... Oh, no, they've called it. They waved it off.
Crowd going absolutely bananas. What a finish. Perth Wildcats take advantage of a couple of costly turnovers by New Zealand. Lockie Reed is down on the floor. Don't know who he's going to get.
I'm trying to get in here. Unbelievable game of basketball. I'll drag him across. Sean Redditch will get you on camera in a moment. You are absolutely pumped. That was an amazing game of basketball.
That is a great game. Two great teams going at it. Comes down to some clutch plays, and credit to them. They gave us everything. It's going to be a great game 3. I'll expect that.
I'm sure you'll want to see the highlight in the last couple of seconds of that big block. Sean Redditch getting upstairs to swat it away.
Vintage Sean Redditch. Don't get upstairs too often, but that was a big play. But it means nothing if we don't get game 3. So we got to stay focused.
Well done, mate. Congratulations. Game 3, boys. Oh, it's going to be big.
Absolutely. Boy, that game had everything. Of course, New Zealand will feel like, man, they let one slip away, Drewy. But you got to give the Wildcats credit. They put the pressure on and forced them into some untimely turnovers.
And Steve, the only time they led in the last minute off a bobbling, bouncing ball, it just happened to go in. And sometimes you look for explanations, but maybe this is a team of fate. Let's go to Lockie down there. He's got Kevin Lish with him.
Oh, I can't hear you over here, but Kevin Lish, that is unbelievable.
Yeah, that was unbelievable play by, I think it was Sean at the end. What else is there to say? Listen to these guys. One more game to go.
One more game. Can you go over there? It's only a couple of days. You've got a pretty bad corky.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we didn't play well the first game, and we brought them into overtime, so it's going to be fun.
Cal Bruton said this could be one of the great NBL Grand Final series of all time. Do you feel like you're part of something special?
Yeah, both teams are definitely making this interesting, so it's a lot of fun.
Well done, Kev. Congratulations.
Well, 2 games played at a great clip. We'll be back to wrap this up in a minute.